What's up, everyone? I brought out a couple of my watches. I just wanted to talk about my watch journey. Such a nice day out, such a nice fall day out, and I'm just sitting outside. I was thinking of a video, and I said, you know what? Let me talk about some watches and my journey with them. Um, a few years ago, I had to move, so I'm trying to focus this thing in right. Sorry. And when you got to move, I suggest for anyone. Look in the house that you lived in all those years. Look in the drawers. Looking everywhere when you're moving. You're checking everything, and see. You're probably going to find watches you had. This watch I had when I was a kid. It's a Seiko automatic, 17 jewels. It's like late 70s, mid 70s. Who knows how I was a kid, like 12 years old when I had it, 13. And I thought it was a Caravelle. It actually is better Seiko because I'm more into Seikos. Anyway, I found this. I knew the watch. I thought it was a little bigger though. It's not as big. I put a new band on it, and I had to put a new crystal because it was cracked. Because when I was a kid, I was always playing with it. I messed it up. I brought it back into good condition. Looking nice, but I thought it was a Caravelle, and I was looking in the house. I was telling my friend, I know this watch is like a goldish tone, and lo and behold, I opened up a tin, and there it was. The bracelet was all messed up. It wasn't even the original bracelet. The crystal had a crack, and I went to the jewelry store, and I changed the crystal on it. I don't wear it. Unfortunately, I don't even wear it. I thought it was a little bit bigger face. I like a little bit bigger face watch. Anyway, look in your drawers, look in your house. You never know what you're going to find when you were a kid, your childhood watches. And, I mean, I have a lot of regrets on other watches. I was, like, now I'm into G-Shocks, I'm into not all G-Shocks. I'm into regular wrist check, regular Casio watches. Mostly I wear a regular Casio watch. I only have 3 G-Shocks. I love G-Shocks. But I regret that I wasn't into G-Shocks back in the 80s and 90s because I probably would have found a lot of vintage ones. In my house. Maybe they would have needed a battery, and I would have had a story to tell about the watch when I had it, what I was going through. That I regret. But I did have a lot of Timex watches. I had a love for years and years. I always had the Timex Indiglo, whether they were analog or digital. And this one I found totally destroyed. This one wasn't that old. I would say 2003. 2004, maybe a little past that, a little newer than that. Anyway, the band was completely ripped off, and it was just laying there all dirty. I put a new battery in and cleaned it up. Works pretty good. Not perfect, but it works pretty good. It still tells time and everything. In the glow works. All the functions work. I had to get this new band. Flex Technology band. I found it on Amazon. But I always had a love for digital watches and analog watches, mostly a lot of Timex. When I was moving, I found a lot of Timex, old Timex, Expeditions. I tried to revive some of them, some I could, some I couldn't. The batteries went dead after. So I still have them. I actually, this was like, this watch here has to be 208, 209, something, 2010, something like that. Anyway, I restored it, fixed it up, got a new band, Flex Technology. I regret not having a lot of these around years ago, and they're great watches. I love Timex, I still do, and I have a love for G-Shocks and Casios right now. I mean, I wish I would have been in the Casios years ago because I would have had some nice vintage ones maybe around, but it is what it is, and I have what I have. But I just wanted to show them off this Seiko, vintage Seiko from late 70s. Beautiful watch, date and day, 17 jewels it says, automatic. It's a nice watch. It's a nice watch. It's just, I save it. It's just in my, I have a fond memory of it. I thought it was bigger than that when I first was looking for it. And I only have three G-Shocks. Three G-Shocks that I own. Mostly I have regular Casio watches. I find them to be just as durable almost and comfortable, and I love them. And I remember years ago, I had analog, and I love digital. I always loved digitals. I'm a number person, I like playing numbers and stuff, so digital's always like a number to me. But I remember when I couldn't change even 3 years ago when I started getting back into these watches, I'm like, I like digital watches, but I never knew how to change them. I would bring them actually to the jeweler or a friend of mine that had one. Could you change it for me when the time changed and everything? And then when I got them, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to master this. And now I could, any digital watch is a joke to me. It's like easy. It's so easy, You press the adjust button and then search button. You change the time, seconds, minutes, and, the year. And it's fun to me now to set them. At one time, I didn't know how to even set them. And I'm like, and this is only like 3 years ago still. And I finally mastered that, and I really got into it then, started collecting them. You see my Walmart videos. I'm going to do some more of those because those are doing good. But that's my journey. I always had a watch on. That's one piece of type of jewelry that I had on. It was always a watch. As a small kid and up, I just never left the house without a watch. I just didn't feel like I was dressed if I didn't have a watch on. And it's nice to have a watch. I just like the look of it. Summertime, wintertime, didn't matter. I just had to have a watch on. And I found some nice watches from the past that I had. And I'm not into high-end watches now. The highest end watch I have is the Seiko SKS. This is actually the box to it. That's the box to my Seiko with the guarantee in there. Those jumped up to like $1,000, $700 to $1,000 now. So that's probably the only expensive watch I'll ever own. G-Shocks are more than enough watch for me. This is an $80-something watch. This is a great watch. This watch here is atomic time, so you never have to worry about setting the time. 6900 E, I think it is, or D. I'm not sure. I'll list it in the thing. But anyway, this is more of a ranting video about my watch journey and the watches that I had. This is tough solar and atomic time, so you don't have to worry about that. Just put it by a window. I set a lot of my watches to this watch, so it has, better time. And, that's my watch journey. Check, if you ever move in, check your drawers. Check, in china closets in your house where you drop watches, the batteries went dead on you and you didn't want to deal with it no more. You left it there, you bought another watch. The only regrets I have is, I always was into Timex. The Indiglo was fascinating to me. Late at night, you could just look at the time and everything. But I wish I was into Casio watches more back then. But I made up for lost time with them now. I got a nice collection of Casio watches. I only have about 3 G-Shocks. Most of my Casio watches are just a basic Casio digital watch, 100 meters waterproof, world time and stuff like that. I think they're just as good as almost a G-Shock. You don't really have to buy a G-Shock to enjoy a decent Casio watch. But of course, the G-Shock is a lot more durable. You could run over it with a car and it'll be okay. But that's my journey. Learned how to set these digitals. Always had a love for watches. Still do. Still going to make videos on them. I appreciate everyone watching. And, you never know what you have in your house from years ago. I even looked at some photos that I found of myself. If I see a photo with a watch that I'm wearing, I try to zoom it in and see what that watch was at the time. And, is it still in the house? But I came up with some of them that I had, but I think I didn't really pay. I was a watch person, but I don't think I took anything serious back then with watches. It's just like, to me, they were disposable. Oh, I had a Timex. I bought Timexes, and if they went bad, I'd throw them in a closet or throw them out and just went on to the next cheap watch, But save your watches. Try to remember if you have any around that you might have bought a long time ago and forgot about. You could revive them, put a new battery, wash them up, put a new battery in them, new bands on them, and you'll appreciate them. And the time, it'll remind you of the time back then, what was going on in your life, and, it's all good. You'll appreciate that. And anyway, I don't want to go too far on. These are my watches. Thanks for watching all the videos. That's my watch journey. And that's it. Have a great rest of your day. Peace out, everyone.